Good morning and welcome to the Devon Greater Horseshoe Bat Project Conference. So I'm Harry Barton, I'm Chief Executive of the Devon Wildlife Trust, and the Trust has hosted the team that's coordinated the work on Greater Horseshoe Bats over the past 5 years. And we're all here to celebrate the achievements of this extremely impressive and influential project. And I think we've got around 200 people here today. And I know most of you have played a key role in making this the huge success that it's been. Now, I remember about 5 years ago, we held a very similar event. When I say similar, of course, it wasn't online because these are pre-COVID-19 days, but it was right at the start of the project. And at that event, we talked about many things. And one of the things we talked about was the many threats to the 1,400 or so species of bats worldwide. And among the biggest, loss of habitat, especially forests, which is where most bats live, damaging myths, which have led to these extraordinary creatures being persecuted in many societies, and of course the unsustainable hunting of bushmeat. Now sadly, these threats are just as big today. An area of forest the size of Greece continues to be lost annually. And I don't want this to be depressing, but I think it would be wrong not to reflect on why we're having to hold this conference in this strange virtual format, because we're as good as certain that COVID passed from humans via the consumption of bat meat, or passed to humans rather, via the consumption of bat meat. So I can't think of a more chilling example of the human and economic costs of thoughtless abuse of the natural world. But on a more positive note, we're here in the UK, we have a chance to change things, and that's exactly what this project has done. So focusing on the large and rare and charismatic Greater Horseshoe bat, for which Devon is such a stronghold in Europe, the project has tackled the problem at both ends. Society's understanding of bats and the way we manage the landscapes that form their natural habitat. So what's it done? Well, the team, including a huge group of dedicated volunteers, has mapped bat habitat landscapes, advised farmers, laid hedges, planted woodland, restored habitat, visited schools, set up bat beacons, and gathered a staggering volume of data about these remarkable creatures right across Devon. And what's all this labour achieved? Well, we haven't got time to go into detail now, but here are some of the headlines. And I have to read these, I'm afraid, because I haven't managed to memorize them. But okay, 1,750 hectares of habitat, 344 kilometers of hedge, 140 kilometers of river in good condition for bats, with plenty more in recovery, and 16,000 hectares of land influenced positively for bats through 450 farms. Now, all these numbers can start sort of making our mind go numb. So just to give a sense of scale, look at the 344 kilometre hedge figure. So that's enough hedge to line both sides of a road from the middle of Exeter to Land's End. And that's 16,000 hectares of land. That's twice the area of Plymouth City. So that's pretty impressive. And it's equally impressive when you look at some of the other results around engagement. So 20,000 people engaged and over 250 school sessions held. And this is a real mind blower, 3.2 million sound files of bats, 3.2 million, and over 6,500 of them recordings of Greater Horseshoe bats. Now that's great, but the real test as far as engagement goes is how much it has really impacted people's understanding and behaviour, because that's why we're doing it. Well, an online survey showed that 87% of people engaged through this project have said that they will do at least one thing to help Greater Horseshoe bats. So I think that's a pretty good indicator that this action has really worked. So I'm incredibly proud of what this amazing project has achieved, and none of it would have been possible without our funders, especially the National Lottery Heritage Fund and our many partners. I can't mention you all by name because I'll run over time if I do, but you know who you are. And of course, the many volunteers who stacked up tens of thousands of hours in the amazing team of professionals who led the work. I'm in awe of every one of you. So I really hope you enjoy the conference, and I hope it will convince you just how much has been achieved for such an important species in such a short time. And as the project comes to a close, I hope we can also give thought to its legacy, because sadly the challenges facing our bats, especially Greater Horseshoe bats, are as threatening as they've ever been. So I'm really grateful to all of you for supporting and helping this project, and to the brilliant team for organising this conference. It's a showcase for how a committed group of people can not just make a difference, but actually help to turn a tide. Thank you.